Stories podcast by Cecilia Sala. Uncovering the hidden truths behind the headlines. Stories, a captivating podcast created by Cecilia Sala, delves into the untold, often hidden stories behind real-life events that have shaped our world. Cecilia Sala, an investigative journalist and storyteller, is known for her unique ability to uncover the truth behind complex and often overlooked issues. In Stories, she takes listeners on a journey through history, culture, crime, and personal experiences, offering fresh perspectives and new insights into the world around us. With a focus on unraveling the hidden narratives behind everyday events, Stories captures the essence of investigative journalism while keeping the audience deeply engaged with compelling storytelling. Sala's style is a mix of thorough research, heartfelt narration, and thought-provoking commentary, making each episode both educational and emotionally resonant. Podcast goes beyond surface-level storytelling, offering listeners a chance to explore the deeper meanings and implications of the stories that have shaped our society. Concept behind Stories. Concept of Stories is simple yet powerful, to highlight those aspects of life, history, and contemporary society that are often overlooked or misunderstood. Sala shines a light on the voices, events, and subjects that have been sidelined in mainstream narratives, giving them the attention they deserve. Whether it's a crime that has never been fully investigated, an untold piece of history, or a complex issue that needs a deeper dive, Sala approaches each subject with a journalistic rigor that keeps listeners hooked. What sets Stories apart from other podcasts is its focus on revealing the deeper layers of storytelling. Sala goes beyond simply recounting events or facts. Instead, she places them within the broader context of society, culture, and the human experience. The stories told in the podcast often provoke reflection, challenging the listener to think critically about how history is written and remembered. Uncovering untold stories. Each episode of Stories is a new journey into an underexplored aspect of life, history, or culture. Cecilia Sala's meticulous research brings these hidden stories to life, uncovering nuances that have been lost or ignored. For instance, in episodes focused on unsolved crimes, Sala dives deep into the evidence, examining why these cases remain unresolved and exploring the systemic issues that prevent justice from being served. She often interviews experts and individuals connected to the story, providing listeners with a rich, multifaceted understanding of the events. Sala's storytelling is rich with emotion, offering listeners a chance to connect with the people involved in each story. Whether she's telling the tale of a forgotten political figure, the aftermath of a historical event, or the lives of ordinary people caught in extraordinary circumstances, Stories emphasizes the human experience behind the facts. This ability to humanize complex topics makes the podcast compelling and relatable to a wide audience. In an episode about a criminal case that went unsolved for decades, for example, Sala meticulously unravels the clues, offering listeners a chance to walk through the investigation with her. The episode doesn't simply recount the events, it highlights the societal factors that contributed to the case's failure to be resolved, encouraging listeners to think about the broader implications. Social commentary and thought-provoking themes. What makes Stories stand out is its ability to weave social commentary into the narrative. Sala doesn't shy away from addressing uncomfortable or controversial topics. She tackles issues like systemic inequality, political corruption, and the manipulation of history, all while guiding listeners through the complexities of each situation. Sala's perspective is one of nuance. She doesn't present simple, black-and-white answers but instead encourages listeners to consider all sides of a story and examine the deeper societal forces at play. In a particularly gripping episode, Sala delves into the topic of censorship and its impact on the preservation of history. By examining a historical figure whose legacy was deliberately erased, the podcast encourages listeners to think critically about who gets to tell history and who is left out. This kind of social commentary is what makes Stories more than just a true crime or historical podcast. It's a podcast that urges its listeners to reflect on the broader implications of storytelling and the power dynamics behind it. Sala's investigative approach also means that listeners are provided with factual, well-researched narratives that offer a balance of personal stories and historical context. Each episode is thoughtfully crafted, with Sala's voice guiding listeners through the intricacies of the topic with ease. She often combines interviews with experts, historical documents, and her own analysis to build a comprehensive picture of the subject matter. A unique storytelling approach. Cecilia Sala's storytelling approach is both intimate and immersive. Her calm, reflective tone invites listeners into the narrative, making them feel as if they are part of the investigation. Sala's voice is a key component of the podcast's success. It's engaging, soothing, and filled with sincerity, drawing listeners into even the most complex and heavy subjects. What also stands out is Sala's ability to balance suspense with reflection. In episodes that deal with unresolved mysteries or complex historical events, she carefully builds anticipation, keeping the listener engaged while also encouraging them to consider the broader implications of the story. Sala's style is never rushed. She allows the story to unfold at its own pace, giving the audience time to absorb the details and form their own opinions. Another aspect of stories that enhances the experience is its sound design. Podcast uses music and sound effects sparingly but effectively, enhancing the mood of each episode. Whether it's the tension of a crime scene or the solemnity of a historical event, the soundscape complements the narrative, heightening the emotional resonance of each story. Impact on the audience. Stories has made a significant impact on its audience, encouraging listeners to think more critically about the world around them. Through Sala's storytelling, listeners gain a deeper understanding of the complexities of history, society, and human behavior. Podcast isn't just about uncovering forgotten stories. It's about encouraging people to challenge the narratives that have been handed down to them and to seek out the truths that are often hidden from view. By highlighting the voices and stories that are often overlooked, Stories provides a platform for reflection and growth. Pushes listeners to ask questions, explore new perspectives, and engage with the world in a more thoughtful way. Conclusion: Stories by Cecilia Sala is more than just a podcast. It's a journey into the hidden truths of history, crime, and society. Through her meticulous research, engaging storytelling, and social commentary, Sala offers a fresh perspective on the events and people that shape our world. Stories invites listeners to reflect on the past, question the narratives they've been taught, and think critically about how these stories continue to shape our present and future. For anyone interested in uncovering the stories that have been lost to time, challenging conventional narratives, or simply enjoying well-crafted storytelling, Stories is a podcast that offers something deeply enriching. Cecilia Sala's ability to combine investigative journalism with empathetic, human-centered storytelling ensures that each episode leaves a lasting impression. If you haven't yet, make sure to give Stories a listen. It will change the way you view the world.